Well, then I'm going to go ahead and officially welcome everyone today. It's to the Family and Community Engagement Roundtable. And my name is Fred Cochran, and I'm here with our interim director, Sally Gleasing from RSDSS, and as well as our guests from Riverside County Office of Education that will introduce themselves in a few minutes. So I want to welcome you today and thank you for taking part today in our Zoom call. The reason why we are changing the format of our Zoom call or our meetings is to be able to do another way of doing outreach with our regional partners. And it's a great opportunity for us to be able to build capacity and to hear from one another about our challenges and successes along the way. So I wanted to welcome everyone again. And today we have our guest speaker, Kathleen Kennedy, who is a coordinator of parent engagement for the Alfred Unified School District in Riverside. And she actually provides support to 21 TK-12 school sites. So she has extensive experience and has, uses her work, resembles the work of the Spheres of Influence model by Dr. Joyce Epstein of Johns Hopkins University. So I know that Kathleen has a presentation, but maybe if we could do this is have everyone just kind of chime in where you are, who you are and where you're from. That would be nice so we could kind of get a read of the audience. Does that sound okay?
Sure. Shall I start? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm Sally Gleasing, and we're here with Fred with RSDSS. I'm in my office. We're across the hall from each other. So, well, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining in. We appreciate you being here.
I'm Kathleen Kennedy. I'm a coordinator of parent engagement for the Alvord School District in Riverside County. I'm here with Ellen.
I'm Ellen Larson. I lead the Parent Engagement Leadership Initiative with my partner, Mimi.
And I'm Mimi Badura, Parent Engagement Leadership Initiative with the County Office with Ellen and our great friend Kathleen Kennedy from Alvord Unified School District will be hosting the presentation today.
And I'm Melissa. Sorry, I'm staying out of camera view because this is really more about them than about me. I'm really just the facilitator in this regard. So, hi everyone.
Okay. Great. And I think we have a couple of people on mute that are with us too. Our LCAP director from San Joaquin County Office of Education, Stephanie Hitchcock, and I see Dolores Bronson from Lincoln Unified is with us, and Karen Corchero is also with us. So welcome everyone. Thanks for attending. If some come in after we start, that's perfectly fine. So how about I turn this over to Kathleen and we can start with your presentation.
Okay, I'm gonna get you started. This is my tech right here. My producer. This is the new title. Okay. All right. All right. I start with a screen that shows you a little bit of where we began in 2012. We didn't have a whole lot of direction yet at this point. LCAP wasn't in place, so we worked pretty much as a Title I and projects office to determine the direction of what my new position of parent engagement coordinator would be. And you can see our 5 goals that we started with, and they pretty much have not changed. And you have there a picture of one of our original parent classes, learning English and also learning the 6 keys of parent involvement from Joyce Epstein. So the quote that really I took to heart the greatest was that the level of parent involvement in our schools is not determined by parent interest or apathy, but it's based more on the appropriate strategies and structures that are in place to facilitate their participation. In other words, if we build it and we reach out, they will come. Okay. And so present day, I'm going to start with where we are now, and then I'll work backwards as far as you want me to go as far as the sequence of our growth. First of all, we're a school district of about 20,000 students with large populations of second language learners, and about 40% white, and I don't know what would be left, 60-something% of Hispanic. We're at about 30%, I would guess, of second language learners, Spanish speakers for the most part. So right now, what we do is we're basing the direction of our work on the Joyce Epstein circles of influence on student development. The idea being, if you're not familiar with this, that when you have excellent schools and strong families and healthy communities all working together to support the child, picture the child in the center of the three joining circles, then that child is supported the best that they can be, working towards their future. And so we started as a district working on excellent schools. Okay, so what did we need to put in place? Some strong parent engagement programs. And so we began at the district level. I started out in the Instructional Support Services Office, and then we created a new division of Educational Innovations, and that's where I am now. I have an office that includes a teacher on special assignment and 1.5 clerks. One of them is bilingual Spanish. We've been growing. We've had a growing budget since 2012 with a computer lab, a child care room, and ample office space. We, of course, are integrated with the LEA plan and now with the LCAP plan, though our work began before LCFF. So we have district-wide parent programs that reach out so that our community is very aware of what we're doing and what the district and state expectation is of the schools. And so because we've done such a good job of reaching our entire community, our broad community, the district is more ahead of some of our schools. And so parents now arrive at schools saying, you know, where's my place? How do I fit in? And we do that through the ATP structure, the Action Team for Partners structure. And we have a new group called ACE, the Alvord Community Engagement Group, which is a huge group of about 100 people with representatives from each school. And we work directly with the superintendent in determining district direction for parent engagement. So we put out several publications across the district to increase our voice, and we hold kind of a district-wide open house in November during Parent Involvement Week, which is a national focus. And at that point, all of our schools are open for parent involvement in the classroom during the school day, sitting with their children, learning whatever piece of academics that the teacher needs support with at home, and they pick up the learning with the students and the direction of the classroom, and they leave with an activity to do at home with their kids. So that would, so then from the broad view of the district for growing the excellent schools, we then have school site programs. Of course, we have the traditional parent governance groups that we all have, but our key group is the Action Team for Partnership, which comes out of Joyce Epstein's work. And at this point, 5 years into the work, all of our school sites have an active ATP team, which is an arm of our school site council. We have a stipend-funded facilitator that's a teacher at each site. We have facilitator network support meetings, and my teacher on assignment serves as the facilitator support provider. We're integrated into our school site plans, and each school has a yearly parent engagement plan. Many of our school sites have parent university, and even if they don't have that degree, they have parent education programs of some degree connected to the learning process. We're also in the process of creating the welcoming schools concepts at all of our schools so that all parents feel welcome in their school sites. So that's how we've developed the first circle of the spheres of influence. Before I go on, do you want to comment or ask anything about that work?
I was kind of interested in the parents' role in being in the classroom and watching and being part of the instruction. Is that, did I understand that?
Yeah, it's primarily taking place like this in our elementary schools.
Mm-hmm.
Some of our schools have taken it as far as doing it every Friday. And so the idea is that for an hour, one day for an hour, it might be, or an hour and a half, it might be first grade, and then the first and second grade, the next grade day, 2, 3, and we spread out throughout the week. And then come and they sit with their children in class, and the teacher presents a lesson that they can ask the community for support with, at taking it for learning at home with the 6 key and Joyce Epstein's 6 keys, and they send them home with work and a work bag that's connected to the structure of the classroom and the standard that they're working on.
Great. That's a wonderful idea.
Yeah. I have a school that does it every Friday. They call it Family Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
Parents drop their kids off at school and go to class with their kids for the opening hour. And then they can follow into conversation with the principal later on, or immediately following that, like a principal's coffee.
Wonderful.
It is. I'm very proud of that.
Yeah.
So, okay, shall I move on?
Okay.
Okay, so taking the idea that when our families are strong, our students are stronger. So each of our school sites uses the 6 keys of parent involvement to develop amongst their families, and they do that through parent workshops. They integrate it with their parents' governance groups, and into pieces of their classroom work. We use the PELI curriculum, which is the Parent Engagement Leadership Institute initiative that Ellen and Mimi began here at the county office, and that was the beginning of my work and learning about, they helped me set my direction. Mm-hmm. So the PELI curriculum puts out different modules related to the 6 keys, and then it's there for us to turn around and use with our families. We don't have to create that. So we've gone beyond that and integrated other pieces that support our work. So we have partnerships with social services that come and support our parent groups. Numerous groups come, like Planned Parenthood and some Healthy Families grants that we help with their grant and they help with ours. And then we also have a program for adult ed, English as a second language, where we've taken the adult ed CASAS curriculum, if you're familiar with that, and we've integrated the 6 keys, providing parent education for parenting in the schools. Okay. Oops. I did something. I'm sorry, I touched the mouse.
It's okay, just move it down to the screen somewhere. Click anywhere outside of that white box. Okay, yeah. There we go.
All right. And we're focused this year more on developing our communities, because we feel like our programs for schools and families are pretty strong. And so this was the year that we started using some adult ed curriculum and some adult ed funding to reach out to our Spanish-speaking parents, which are numerous. And so we started with 1 English class, and we've expanded to 4. We have 4 classes of about 25 adults that come learning English. They're also picking up job skills, but more importantly to our work is that they are becoming more involved parents in our schools. And so our students in our adult ed programs are all outward parents. And so we also bring in, again, those community partnerships with our adult ed classes. And now we are exploring developing a community engagement center at our school district and in our sites to further integrate the community services, which our families are so much in need of. And then again, I mentioned our community engagement committee, which is under the direction of, I work with our superintendent directly. He's at all the meetings, and we are uncovering a lot of the needs and the direction that our district needs to go in to better serve our families. That's how our work revolves around the spheres of influence. I can go on with how we began and the steps that we took, or we can stop there and discuss from there, whatever you want to do.
I
Any input?
I would like to hear your story, basically,
Okay.
because I think that helps helps people know the you know the challenges that you faced and how you overcame some of those along the way.
Okay. So we're 5 years in, like I said, and back in the summer of 2012, I moved from my principalship at an elementary school, high socioeconomic need in Riverside, California, into this position. And I had an assistant superintendent with a lot of foresight who likely knew what was coming down the pike before I did. And this was the year before LCAP was rolled out. And so I began really not knowing what direction I was going. But I had a lot of time to dedicate to learning and determining our direction. So in that summer, I took the family engagement framework from the state of California, and as a team of administrators, we explored the 5 framework domains that are a part of that framework. And so you can see here on this slide that initially we all did a district self-evaluation, and we took each page of that framework and highlighted the places where we saw in schools were. And so in 2012, just for example, on this first domain, ensuring that staff and family have access to training in effective school, family, and partnerships, we were clearly not even achieving basic implementation. And so we then, as a management team, we charted and we set direction and made decisions for each school based on where they were able to go, with our goal being innovative implementation with as many areas as we could. And so then 2 years later, in summer of 2014, we gathered again, reevaluated, and in that same standard, we moved from basic to innovative implementation. And now in 2016, this is a different standard. I wanted you to see that we were well supported financially by the district. We started with Title I money, then we increased with LCAP distributions, and we used some, I'm not sure what piece of EL funds we have, but we used some of that too.
Okay.
Okay, and so we began by looking for a sustainable structure. I wanted something that would be in place and could be run by the parents and the schools together, so that in the case of a change in direction on the state's part, or my change in direction as a leader, that we could continue. And so I found the Pele leadership training that was offered here at the county, developed by Mimi and Ellen, and we went for that full board. We implemented every piece of it. With over 3 years, we trained every school in our district to establish ATP teams, action teams for partnerships in all of our schools, but we did it in chunks. So I started with schools that were ready and willing and wanted to. Then the next year, the fever grew a little bit until this last year, where we just picked up our last stragglers who had a lot of change in administration, and now we're providing supports for them to keep their work growing. So we've been recognized by the Johns Hopkins Promising Partnerships program, the National Network of Promising Schools. We were guests of them last year in Maryland, sharing our work there. And so that's been the key to the foundation in our school sites.
It's quite an honor.
It is, isn't it? And the work that Mimi and Ellen have developed is based on what we call the Green Book of Joyce Epstein's, the School, Family, and Community Partnership Guidebook. That's been the most helpful. Not in the camera though, sorry. Oh, over TV. Right. So for anybody trying to get action teams in place, I would recommend starting there, if you can't get Mimi and Ellen to come. All right, so why did we pick Pele? Pele training, first of all, is recommended by our county assistant superintendent, and that's how I found it. It's based on research, it's nationally recognized, it contains the parent curriculum, and they provide lots of training and support. And the program itself is site-based, it's sustainable because you have leadership at all levels of the organization, layer upon layer, and there's the academic tie with the support from the curriculum, and it's proven successful.
Great.
Oops, keep doing that. All right, so they have a program where they where they teach, Mimi and Ellen will come out and teach parent engagement, the need for parent engagement through extraordinary service. And so we started by providing that training at our district level, because I thought that if we're going to build on the school sites, our district people need to be on board. So we brought that training to all clerks and all staff that hit the front line in the classified vein. And we talked about becoming better listeners and meeting the needs of parents and all the things that go into that. From there, we trained school site secretaries together with their principals, and they then set goals for what they thought their schools needed to do to better reach out to parents. So we began with goals from the classified, working with the office staff, and then from there we rolled out to the classrooms with the ATP trainings. I forgot this slide. I'm gonna skip past this,
Okay.
but the School, Family, and Community Partnerships book of Joyce Epstein takes the work deeper, and it goes into theory and more of a textbook rather than a handbook. But that's helped us propel to the next levels also.
I was just going to mention how important it is to have your school secretary being such an active part of this, because they are the ones in the front line every day, right?
Right. Yeah, without that piece, the parents don't get past the front door, right? So,
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
and I can tell a story too. We got a new superintendent in the last few years, and he kind of did an undercover visit to some of our school offices, and and they didn't know who he was. He hadn't started yet, and so it was very clear which schools were embracing this.
Oh, wow.
And he still refers back to that. So we're continuing to implement in that way.
Yeah, you never know who's going to be there, right? Good.
All right, so from there, we began communicating with the community. So we had a foundation in our offices. We now had a foundation in our school sites, and we were reaching out further to the community, letting them know what we had in place. And so I purchased banners for all of our schools there that say Parent Involvement Matters. We put together various publications to add to our communication. And we then rolled out Parent Involvement Week in 2014, or in 2014 was our first one, where we started with schools volunteering to open their doors to the public. And then, the more schools participated, more and more, and now we have all of our schools involved, except for our continuation schools. They're not on board yet. But that really made a splash with the community, so that now schools kind of can't hide because the parents are looking for their place.
So how is that structured that week?
So that week is the week before Thanksgiving, so work is a little bit winding down, getting ready to go off for 2 weeks in our district. And I distributed ideas for the week from the promising practices documents that come out from Joyce Epstein's work. And then people met with their ATP teams and planned what they wanted to happen during that week. They had options. It was pretty much up to them. They could do one day. They could beef up their principal's coffee or their ELAC meeting, or they could roll out something bigger. And with the idea being, we wanted to communicate to the parents that their connection to the student learning process is what made the difference in student achievement, not necessarily the booster club activities or the PTA book fairs, but it was making those closer connections with the learning. And so that's when classrooms started opening their doors to parents. During that week, some schools have different workshops throughout the week, and classrooms are open, and a variety of things go on. But every school now participates.
That sounds great. Good.
Okay, so one of the things that helps us, that has really helped our work grow, is that the leader's attention, that what the leader focuses on is what's going to grow, and it communicates the importance. And our superintendent, he's been with us now 4 years. One of the first things he did was gather the community and create this strategic plan that's quite in-depth, community created, And it's a document that we all use on a regular basis. And within that document was the value of inclusiveness and the mission statement that included our goal of developing a system that was distinguished by relationships and a culture of trust and integrity. And if you go on the strategies that we as parent engagement work are noted directly in 2 strategies. We will develop a system for meaningful family engagement and a learning organization to address the unique needs of each student. And from that, all of our work is raised quite a level of importance and value in the community and in the teaching ranks and throughout the district. So now, as I've said it multiple times, that all of our schools are trained. We've made our own brochures for ATP partnerships that we distribute to our parents looking for a place to do some of their work. We have integrated our work with ATP and the 6 keys into each of our parent groups, our ELAC, our PTA, universities, our teachers associations, our Healthier Generation grants. All of our work that involves families and parents now is integrated with our work, and they support our goals and we support theirs. We also are integrated with district and city programs. I've mentioned that. Here's some samples of that work going on in our district. And the layer we added 2 years ago was providing support directly to the school. So together with my teaching support, we provide, all of our facilitators have stipends, and we provide quarterly meetings to help propel their work. So where are we going? We are continuing to develop our Healthy Communities module through parent centers, community liaisons, and an early outreach program. We want to develop school site parent centers. We're working on strengthening our evaluation system. And I want to continue to integrate our program deeper into district departments like special ed. We're in food services, we're in EA programs for the most part, but I'd like to see us integrated more closely with student services and special ed. And of course, we're increasing our adult education now for our to meet our parent needs. That pretty much covers the Alvord parent program.
So your evaluation system, are you using surveys with your parents, or
yes,
interviews, or?
Yes, we've tried a couple of different things. Basically, what we're landing on at the school site, we are evaluating from 2 different directions. We're evaluating program implementation because we're really putting a lot of faith in the research out of with Joyce Epstein, where if you support and shore up your structures, then your parent involvement is going to grow. So we're evaluating each of the events that our schools put into place, and we're evaluating the effectiveness of their ATP teams. Then we're also reducing some lengthy surveys that we have right now on parent perceptions, and we're working on different ways to put those out.
Yeah, I think that's important because some of those surveys can be too intimidating in some ways, or too long. Right. Good. Good.
That's it.
That's great.
That's a lot. I know.
Great information and a lot of hard work. I was looking at your newsletters, your Alfred's Parents in Action today, and taking a look at the different events that you put on and advertise, and very, very useful information. I wanted to mention that I added your website to our live binder so that our regional partners can take a look at what that you've done and read it themselves. So anyone who is attending right now, does anyone have any questions they would like to entertain or something they would like to ask?
Yeah, I'd like to go ahead and chime in really quickly.
Hi, Sally.
Hi there. Can I be heard okay?
I'm Sally. Yeah, I can hear you.
Hi. Great. First of all, thank you all so much for sharing. Just wow, you know, the process, the journey, the strategies, really powerful. Appreciate that. My question comes actually as a parent and a working parent and a really busy working parent. What might be or what have been some of the, I guess, thoughts or planning or strategies that you've thought through and implemented even for really busy working families and working parents to help bring them in maybe unique and different ways?
Okay, well, I don't know how unique our ways are, but our parent engagement planning committee where every school participates, it's in the evening, the ACE group. Those are in the evening. We also have gone to taken advantage of the federal program, or maybe it's state, where we're able to provide supper in our schools. So we are offering supper to the children of all the families that come and participate in our nighttime events. So that's proven successful. And then our schools move their meetings around based on when they can get the most participation. Some schools hold a lot in the daytime because there's not a lot of working moms, and they'll take their children to school and they'll stay. Other schools have them in the evening. So it depends on the community.
Got it. Sounds really flexible to just individual needs of the different schools.
Right.
Great. Well, thank you.
And then I'll add that our courses that we offer the parents are morning and evening. So there's two choice.
Yeah. Are there strategies you use that enable parents to participate but don't require physical presence in a meeting? Like, I mean, you mentioned surveys. Are there other, other avenues that parents can give information back?
Yes. Like, for instance, I did a survey last year where I went through the traditional system of the child, put it in the child's backpack kind of thing. And then I provided incentives. So for each school that participated, I provided beach balls and a list of academically oriented games in the classroom with a beach ball, because we're trying not to offer food, so there's no more donut and ice cream parties. So I used beach balls last year to get surveys back, and I'm pleased with the 600 survey responses I received back. We're a bigger school district, but if I hadn't gone that direction, I might have gotten 50.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, we're not set up in our community for this kind of an exchange with parents via technology. A lot of our parents aren't there. We've tried going just digital. We've experimented with it. I still distribute everything in paper. We use the Blackboard system and the website. And we do a combination of ways of reaching it.
Right. Well, thanks. Thank you.
Sally, I'm going to chime in here too.
Yeah.
Sorry, Melissa, I know I'm blocking Mimi's face, but I'm reflecting back on when I was at a school site. One of the challenges we faced was that our parents that worked until late into the evening or weren't able to come to the school site, our volunteer program was geared towards having parents engaged in some opportunities to be a volunteer participant, even if they couldn't make the school site. So if the teacher had something for the parents to do, even if it was as simple as, cutting out laminated snowflakes for the bulletin board, something like that,
Right.
The parent would be able to come in with whatever task it was, or even it could be, the volunteer hours of taking the kids to museums on the weekends. And the teacher would give the parent the number of hours associated with that task. And then we had a community liaison that would log hours for all of our parent volunteers. And at the end of the year, she would work with community partners to get donations of goods. And then the parents would use their logged hours as their dollars or their tickets to participate in a raffle. So even though the parents weren't there physically, they couldn't because of their work schedule or because of transportation, whatever the case may be, they could still log those hours. And, they then only came in on one day when we had our volunteer tea and then the volunteer raffle.
Nice. Thanks for sharing, Melissa. That's cool.
Yeah,
And we do some of that through our ESL classes in our parent universities, to where they can earn different levels of degree You know, you might get an AA degree if you went to parent conference and 2 events, or the more you participate, the greater your degree, and we give certificates and recognition ceremonies. Similar.
Well, that gives everybody a chance to participate that can't, you know, go through the channels like everyone else, like other people. So I think that's great that I like the idea of working towards those hours so they could possibly get something to help them with teaching their kids at home or.
Yeah,
It's
really
good.
Fred, I'd like to chime in. One of the types of parent involvement through Dr. Epstein is communicating, and we have been able to communicate some of those strategies through the volunteering type with the parents and community members and staff that we train through the Perry curriculum. And if you go online to the Seattle Public Schools website, they have an incredible handbook for volunteers and volunteer coordinators. And Ellen and I were really excited when we came across that reference. They have a lot of suggestions on how to incorporate families, whether they're a busy volunteer or a full-time volunteer, being a little creative on what that looks like. We also recommend families that maybe have more funds than they have time to consider doing
Donors choose.
Donors Choose.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
And there's some teachers that have been really happy with that opportunity for families to donate and volunteer in that respect. But I would suggest going on to the Seattle Public Schools website and look at their volunteer coordinator and volunteer handbook.
Books.
And it'll give you some great ideas.
What does it look like?
That's,
You know,
that's why I said I'm gonna look up a picture, and then I'll
because
send
we
it
have
to
to
you.
figure out
Well,
like.
that's great. And we can add that to the
I thought
live
they'd send
binder.
like a picture or something, so I was gonna go to that as soon as I finish with this.
So are they getting a quote for the Chromebooks too?
Oh, am I supposed to do that?
Well,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know.
Annette, did you?
Oh.
That one's not
I
on.
don't know if Dolores knows that
Whoever our IT guy about.
her mic is off. So let's, are there any other questions anyone else would like to have, or any other topics they're interested in?
I know, they're like, there's not.
I think this is a great idea. I'm anxious to look at the Seattle Public Schools handbook. There's so many great resources out there, and why reinvent the wheel if you don't have to, right?
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Good.
I
Okay.
purposely have my screen and my mic.
So what I wanted to say is, well, of course, thank you very much to
Well, I think because we're so much.
Kathleen and Mimi and Ellen and
I'm not even paying
Melissa
attention.
for sharing their great resources with us. And
It's okay. I'm multitasking.
and I would like to just give a couple of things, a couple of announcements out. One is to be sure to keep checking the live binder for updates. I've been adding a few updates there for you guys. And one big event that's coming up is June 22nd through the 24th at San Francisco will be the Family and Community Engagement National Conference. And I just registered for that myself. And I know Mimi and the gang, I imagine it's okay for me to say we're all going to be there.
We're all going.
And we can't wait. And I think it'd be my understanding is it doesn't come to the West Coast that often. Is that true, or am I wrong?
You're right.
It doesn't come that often, so it's a great opportunity not to have to travel too far. Plus enjoy San Francisco. So that link is on our live binder. And the other big announcement I'd like to make is that we are planning to host a Family and Community Engagement Summit with Scholastic on September the 19th here at the San Joaquin County Office of Education. Things are just getting finalized, and we'll soon have a flyer to send out. But we're really excited to have an institute for our all of our, regional partners to come in and experience. We're going to have the keynote is going to be Jenny, sorry, but it's Ani, I think her last name is. And Scholastic has put on, they're called the FACE Institutes all over the country. So it should be a really great event. And one of the greatest things about this is that because we're hosting it, the event will be free of charge. So I think that should entice a lot of people to register early for this. So as soon as that information is available, we will be sending that out so that we can start early registrations. Does anyone have any questions for myself, for me or Sally? So does it sound like so what we'll do now is you know, the meeting will be recorded, or it's being recorded now, and if all the stars are in alignment, I will get it uploaded into probably a YouTube format, and be able to share that on our Live Binder tab that is titled Recorded Meetings. So that way we can share this information with our other folks that weren't able to come today. But and if there are any questions that result from watching the video, we have great connections here to answer any questions for anyone. So Melissa, Kathleen, and Mimi, and Ellen, any other words to share?
Thank you for the opportunity to showcase some of the great work we're doing in Riverside County. We couldn't be more excited for Kathleen and her leadership. I think it speaks volumes for where they are with her leadership. So congratulations, Kathleen.
Yes.
Not do it without our COE's staff here. They've been amazing supports.
You guys are right above the curve. That is so cool. So we do know that, and we do appreciate all the hard work you've done, and by sharing your resources with us just helps us all get a little better at what we do. So thank you again.
Yep. You're welcome.
Okay, everyone. Well, I'll stop the recording now, and if anyone needs anything, please feel free to contact myself or Sally, and we will be talking to you in the near future.
We'll see you in San Francisco.
Well, you betcha. I can't wait. All right, everybody.
Thank you again.
Thank you, and have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.